Hey everyone, it's been a few weeks, I know, since I've come up with another video or demonstration or instruction video, and actually I posted out a message on my Facebook asking everybody for any kind of input or things they would like for me to possibly demonstrate or create a video about, and actually a gentleman by the name of Joseph Garcia had gotten in touch with me and asked me to possibly do a little bit of video addressing turning draws as well as hands at surrender draws. So I figured I would go ahead and address that tonight as kind of kick back off of hopefully another series of 4 or 5 videos that I'd like to be able to put out there on my YouTube page. So without further ado, let's get right down to it. When doing any kind of draw at all, you know, it's all about just the same index with your hands and with your body. It's all about keeping, you know, establishing your stance from the get-go. So as you're standing there and you got the stance established, just as if you had the gun out ready to go, you know, to be able to most efficiently get the draw done, I like to think of the draw in reverse, and that's to have the gun presented at the target and then basically just pulling the gun back and then straight down to the holster. So as that looks, I've got the gun out, and then I'm just going to pull the gun back and right back down to the holster. And then just hands relaxed at sides. The same is going to be said for the surrender draw. The only difference is, of course, now is your wrists are above your shoulders. So, or as it's basically, as that's the synopsis of a surrender draw, is that the wrists just need to be above the shoulders. So a lot of guys, you know, unless the stage says otherwise, that the hands have to be extended completely, like elbows locked over your head. Anytime that you do a surrender draw without that one derivative, it just is basically just requesting that your wrist be above your shoulder. So about, I don't know, ear height or so. If you were wearing a hat, generally touching the bill of your hat with both sides would be just enough to be able to get the hands up high enough where they need to be so that you're actually drawing from surrender. When you draw from surrender, it's going to be this exact same movement from where you get a grasp on the firearm from the holster as the same index is on your support hand to your body. So this portion of it right here is exactly the same, whether your hands are up here, your hands are out to the sides, your arms are crossed, anything. Everything just goes to that exact same index every single time. So the only thing I do to change it up just a little bit as far as for my particular surrender draw is going to be basically once I get the gun, let's say loaded and made ready, and you reholster the gun, again, I want to look for the most efficient means of movement from my hands at surrender to the gun. So I wouldn't extend my hands, you know, way out here like this. You'll see a lot of guys, they'll do weird, I don't know, they'll set themselves up with really weird flared elbows or their, you know, hands in all kinds of weird different angles. I'm going to look at it just from the standpoint of, if this is where I want to be to get the gun from the holster out on target, then all I want to do is reduce the amount of movement it takes to get my hands to here from here. So elbows kind of stay nice and tight into the body, and then literally the arms just rotate down to the gun, out and onto the target. So there doesn't need to be a whole lot of flared. There doesn't need to be a whole lot of excessive movement. The hands don't want to be too high. They also obviously don't want to be too low. They don't want to be scrunched in too tight. I mean, just a nice, relaxed, you know, if your arms are shoulder width apart, basically just at this and relaxed, then it's just a matter of raising the hands up to this position, right down and right back onto the target once you draw the gun. As far as implementing a turn into that, the turn can be kind of macro practiced on its own the exact same way. So with even having a gun on, I've set up a box over here, and for all intents and purposes, most of the time you want to turn into a box, you're going to be standing either with toes touching the back of the box like so, and it's just a simple matter of getting the head turned or initiating the head movement first, because your body always follows your head. Think of the same thing if you know anything about gymnastics or you know anything about most any kind of sport, your body always follows what your head does. So we wouldn't want to turn our bodies first and then turn our head to pick up the target. We would literally want to start initiating the turn with our head first and getting the head turned to look for the target behind us. And as we do that, now of course the hands would drop, we turn, have the gun presented and on target, and we're ready to shoot. So it's imperative during the turn, or when we initiate the turn, to start by snapping the head around to get our body to follow. A lot of times, a lot of guys talk about, well, I rotate with my right foot and kind of do a step over. So they do something kind of similar to maybe setting up in a box like so, and on the turn, they'll rotate that way. Or other guys will do, and this is kind of what I do, is once I set up, I turn my head, I'll initiate the head movement, take one step back, and kind of just like doing an about face. So it's just a matter of lifting the foot, rotating inward towards the gun, getting the gun out, and drawing on the target. Now again, a lot of your course descriptions are going to be turn, then draw, which obviously you wouldn't want to draw, then turn, because then you're breaking the 180, you got the gun pointed up range at people. So when you initiate the turn, it's all about integrating that movement all together so it becomes something slow, but something like this. So it's, once you initiate the turn, so you hear the timer beep, it's going to be turn the head, establish the grip, draw the gun, and notice the gun doesn't clear the holster until I'm already broke past the 180, so now my gun is effectively downrange. So I can now break the gun out of the holster, turn, get it on target, press the trigger, and we've then obviously got the gun presented and we're shooting the targets. So as we do that faster, it's just a matter of refining that motor skill to get the gun out faster and faster and faster. And that's how I like to do the turning draw or the surrender draw. So again, flaring the elbows, keeping the hands too high, too low, getting the arms out here, that's not needed for the surrender draw. A surrender draw is, again, is very easily to, once you get the gun set in the holster and you're about ready to take that last breath right before the RO tells you, are you ready, stand by, I'll just raise a hand and raise a hand right off the gun. And it's as easy as that. I hope that helps. Joseph, I hope that definitely answers your questions. If you need anything else, don't hesitate to contact me on Facebook or on the YouTube page. Look forward to doing more of these soon. Thanks.